So when I first got into sales almost 5 years ago, I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I had some friends that were in sales before, but you don't really know exactly, how to operate in a new role until you're like truly in it yourself. I actually had a marketing background before I went into sales. Going into sales was like a brand new thing for me. I went through a lot, and I feel like I have some things that I could share about the harsh reality about being in sales, because there are obviously some massive upsides being in sales, financially, career growth, etc. But then there's also things that might be really difficult for you that you have to accept. Number one is you're gonna hear no a lot. Like, you're literally gonna hear no all of the time. You can be making cold calls, you could send the best personalized email, and you just get no or not interested. And I think that like what makes a really good salesperson is to challenge the prospect when they are saying no, asking how and why. Something that I always share with my team is that like you could be making 100 cold calls and hearing 100 no's, but you might make that dial, that's your 101st dial, and you get a yes. They're ready to book a meeting, and maybe they're ready to progress into becoming a customer, which honestly is a massive boost of dopamine. It's the best feeling ever, especially if you've never booked a meeting before. My salespeople know exactly how that feels like. The second thing is going to be you have to be okay with going above and beyond. Salespeople that are really successful, they have something in them internally, like a driver, that like when things aren't going well, they don't stop. Right? They really push through those hard times to have a breakthrough. And I think a lot of that really does come from within. Maybe you have a family, you got a wife, you got to put food on the table for your kids. Like, understanding that driver will really help you, especially like when you are going through tough times in sales, because you're going to get average results if you're an average salesperson. You're going to get incredible results if you are a salesperson who's at the top of the leaderboard on activity. You're asking for feedback, you're doing whatever it takes ultimately, and making a push to get to exactly where you need to be. The third thing I'll say about being in sales is everyone finds success differently. Something that you got to be okay with being in sales is there's not one way to be successful. But what's most important is that you find your way to be successful. Because I promise you, like when you try different things out, like when you're first starting out, you're going to be like, oh yeah, like I really love sending videos out, or I really love sending voice messages out. And I think it's important for you to have an open mind when it comes to being in a new role or within your sales process. But also don't be afraid to try new things. Kind of like the 80-20 rule. 80% do what works for you and do what you're great at. And then 20% leaving that room for areas of improvement, trying new things, etc. The last thing I'll say, it is super important to be a listener when you are in a sales role. You do not want to be talking more than your prospect. If you ask your prospect a question, pause and let them fill in that blank space. I think a lot of times like a salesperson can really be struggling and be afraid to ask for feedback, maybe from their peers or maybe from their manager. But I can assure you that like if you are struggling right now and you're in your sales role and there's people around you that are having success, I would highly encourage you reaching out to that person on your team, scheduling maybe 10 to 15 minutes with them and be like, hey, I'm struggling. I see you're having success. I want to learn from you. You can certainly like maximize your skill sets and have way more results when you're open about how you're currently doing to get ahead of the curve to get even better. Everything that I've learned in sales today is I've always gone to the person above me or in leadership that knows something that I don't know and I'm curious on how to learn, and I just ask them like, hey, how'd you learn this? Would you be willing to show me? So especially like if you are struggling, don't be afraid to ask for feedback. Don't be afraid to ask for help. The sooner that you do it, the more success that you'll have in times to come. Overall, within this video, you have a quota, you have a number. That's not for everybody, but certain people like me and you are like, heck yeah, let's do whatever it takes to find opportunities out of thin air, and let's turn a no into a yes. So I hope this helped you. What else would you add to this video? Let me know in the comments about some of the things that you've gone through as a salesperson, maybe throughout your career. I would love to hear. And be sure to click the subscribe button. I think we're almost at like 10 subscribers, which is pretty cool since I just started this channel. I haven't really told anyone about it. So hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.